governor, Sarah Palin. So, Governor, let's start with this, what's going on with the Republican Party. I did think it was interesting, and I did like the back and forth at first. I'm starting to get worried. Are you?
You know, these last couple of days, as I'm watching the media, the progressives, the Democrats, the establishment of the GOP, as I'm watching them try to not just crucify one of the candidates, Newt Gingrich, but actually bury him, yes, I'm getting a little bit worried because there's some history being rewritten that isn't fair to the electorate.
The other day, you were talking about the fact that, in fact, it was before the South Carolina primary, and you were talking about the fact that Newt is, you know, a guy that you might, you know, they should probably not be so tough on. Are you supporting Newt Gingrich? Was it just you wanted to see more of a debate between all the candidates? Which is it?
No, they should be tough on Newt, and they should be very tough on Romney also, and Santorum and Ron Paul. Certainly a bit tougher in these debates and in their forums on the main thing. The main thing is Barack Obama and our desire and our need to replace him and his failed socialist ideas. So no, they need to be tough on everybody. But no, what I said before Florida was that the process of this vetting needs to continue, because the GOP had better not make the same mistake that the country made in allowing Barack Obama to be the candidate that was not vetted. Look what we're stuck with now. We are stuck with a president who believes that government is the answer, and he has no sudden and relentless desire to change anything about government growth and this quashing of the entrepreneurial spirit of the United States and our private sector. That's a dangerous position that we're in because a candidate wasn't vetted. We don't want to see that happen again. So I say allow that vetting to continue as long as possible, even though I agree with you. It's getting a little bit dangerous there with such negativity, such deception, I believe, coming out of some of the camps in regards to pointing fingers at one another.
So what do you do? I mean, you've been out there. You've been a politician for a number of years. How do you focus just on the issues and not the personal attacks, especially when you have these super PACs and everybody else throwing their 2 cents in?
It sounds impossible to just focus on what is absolutely necessary and fair to the voters, and that is the issues, and not get into that negativity and the attacks and the politics of personal destruction, because that's sort of the accepted MO right now in politics, and that makes me sick, and it keeps good people from wanting to be engaged in the process, certainly from wanting to run for office. But no, that is what these candidates and their staffs must concentrate on. What is it that is fair to the voters? What do they need to hear? They need to hear not only somebody's record, what they have stood for in the past, but what their intentions are in doing for and with the country in the future. It is this politics of personal destruction that we see being so aggressively played today, and that's really pathetic. It's really sick. More than anything, though, it's unfair to the voters.
You saw the poll earlier this week that said a third, 33% of Republicans say they want somebody else. You know the obvious question. I know you get asked this all the time, but I'm going to do it to you again anyway. When in your private moments, when you and Todd are having dinner, when you put your head on the pillow at night, you've got to be going, should I have jumped in?
Well, I'm watching what is going on in some respects to Ron Paul, certainly what's going on with Newt Gingrich, and I know that the same thing would be happening to me, because that's what I've lived with over the last 3 or 4 years, with this false narrative being written about what my record is, my reputation, what my family is, and what we stand for. You know, I don't envy those folks who are out there as warriors in the arena today, I do know that, especially for Tea Party patriots, for independent Americans who aren't engrossed in this establishment and part of this machine in the GOP and in a progressive movement over on the other side, what we desire is for a candidate to be able to stand up and not concede, not wave a white flag and say, well, I guess we all just have to go along to get along, go along meaning, yeah, allow government to continue to be a burden on our back, on on our businesses, on our families. Government's just going to grow. Let's accept it. Wave that white flag. We want to see a fighter out there. We want to see a candidate who will take it to Barack Obama and his czars and his cabinet that absolutely does not understand the foundation of America, how we became a prosperous, safe, healthy, voluntarily generous nation. We want to see somebody stick it to him, and in these debates that are coming up in the general election and in these forums, in these campaigns that we'll get to witness as just participants being voters, we want to see that toughness, that tenacity come out in a candidate and prove that they're the ones willing and able to lead this country.
Yeah, but to get you on the record, I mean, maybe it's too soon. Are you rethinking it? Are you taking a look at it? Are you the person who maybe needs to jump in here? Because I know yourself, we can go to Paul Ryan, we can go to Governor Mitch Daniels. A lot of you have said we got to, fight for the country. And now a lot of people, a third of Republicans are saying we want somebody else. Will you or somebody else jump in? Is it too late? Have you thought about it?
Logistically speaking, for me, I'm up here in Alaska, raising family, running businesses. I don't have that organization, I think, that could propel me to a position of being a viable candidate. You throw out the name Mitch Daniels, and everybody's kind of hoping for the best, that at least 30% of GOP those being polled are saying maybe somebody else like a Mitch Daniels can jump in there and shake some things up. Well, remember Mitch Daniels, though, he was the budget director under George W. Bush, whom I respect and dearly love, but that's when government really started to grow and we started spending way too much money in the federal budgets was under Mitch Daniels. So, no, but there is no perfect candidate. We have what we have today, and we need to not just capitulate, not just, again, wave that white flag and say, well, the GOP establishment and the media, they're going to tell us, especially Tea Party patriots, independent Americans, they're going to tell us who our candidate is going to be. The more that the media and the progressives within the party try to do that to people like me, and I think the majority of those who believe in smaller, smarter government and a pro-growth agenda that we need in this country, the more that they try to push us to support one candidate, the more we kind of walk away from that chosen one, the more we look for that rogue warrior maverick who will actually shake it up and do what needs to be done in this country.
You have, however, if every Republican in the country voted for a Republican candidate, they still would not have enough votes to be elected. You still need those independents. How do you stay true to your principles and get the independents?
It's common sense. What you do is you campaign on a pro-growth agenda, those principles that are time-tested regarding free enterprise, regarding smaller, smarter government, getting government off our back and allowing the private sector to grow and to prosper and be able to hire more people, because this election is about the economy. It's about jobs. And independents and GOP participants know what it's going to take to get the country back on the right track. Obviously, the Democrats don't, because they're the ones in office. They're the ones supporting Barack Obama, who is on the path right now to accumulate $6.2 trillion more debt, $4.2 billion a day, and they support a man like that. Independents, I don't believe, are going to continue to support that type of agenda. Certainly GOP participants shouldn't be.
I think you're right. I hope you're right. Governor Sarah Palin, always great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.